So today we will start a journey through the desert. Class 6. প্রথমে আমরা অ্যানিমেশনটা দেখে নিই, অডিও ভিজুয়ালটা।
Once, there were many poor people in a village. They all wanted to cross a desert to go to a town where life was better and the future more promising. Many boys wanted to go. The elders in the village had told them, if you want to do something in life, you must go to that town. Pick up stones from the desert and carry them to that town. Some buyer or other will pay you for those rare stones. One morning, two boys started on their journey. They carried food and water with them. In the beginning, the sand was still cool and the sun not yet hot. They did not feel tired and strode on. After some time, the sun rose over their heads and the sand started to get hot. After walking for a long time, they thought they had reached the edge of the desert. So they ate up all their food and drank up the water. But soon, they realized they had walked only half the way. They began collecting stones to sell in the town. After a while, their bags were full of stones and very heavy. One boy felt it was too heavy to carry, so he threw away the stones and decided to go back. The other boy said, "Let's do what our elders told us to do. Come what may, let's cross this desert and go to the town." The first boy did not listen and went back. The second boy continued to walk towards the town. It was a difficult journey, collecting stones and traveling all alone, with no water to drink. At times, he felt his friend was right. There was no guarantee that somebody would buy his stones. But faith and hope kept him going. After walking for a long time, he reached the town. Much to his disappointment, he saw that it was like any other town. There was a dharamshala nearby. It was getting dark, and he was tired, so he decided to spend the night there. Next morning, when he got up, he wanted to throw away the heavy stones he had collected and return to his village. He opened his bag, and what he saw surprised him. All the stones had become big diamonds. In a moment, he had become a millionaire.
So here in the animation part, this much only given. We will read the story. We will come to know. Okay, go. দেখো, so from the visual part we come to know that two boys went out for the journey towards town, but the journey was very difficult. And one of them returned back to their village, but another one continued and reached the town on the very next day, where after taking rest on a dharmasala, he would like to throw the stones, but when he opened the bag, he found that these all stones were turned into diamonds, and for a fraction of time he had become millionaire. তো মানে এই জায়গা থেকে আমরা কি শিখলাম? আশা, হোপ. If we can continue with our hope, with the mentality of never giving up, ছেড়ে কথা বলবো না, ছাড়বো না, এগিয়ে যাই, দেখি না কি হয়, এই মানসিকতা নিয়ে যদি আমরা এগিয়ে যেতে পারি, তাহলে কি হবে? তাহলে আমরা কোনোদিন হারবো না, এবং আমাদের কাছে পাথরও ডায়মন্ড হয়ে যেতে পারে না, সাধারণ পাথরও ডায়মন্ড হয়ে যেতে করতে পারি আমরা। উই ক্যান টার্ন আ কমন স্টোন ইনটু ডায়মন্ড। এটা লেসন পেলাম। তাহলে আমাদেরকে মেন লেসন কোনটা পেলাম? নেভার গিভিং আপ। হাল ছাড়লে হবে না, বলে না বাড়িতে, চেষ্টা কর ঠিক পারবি। তো একটা পার্ট অফ দ্য স্টোরি এখানে এক্সপ্লেন করা হলো। নেক্সট উই উইল read the story, entire story, and we will come to know what actually is there in this story. A journey through the desert. Okay. Till a few years back, I did not have a driver and used to drive everywhere myself. The petrol station where I filled petrol from had a service station beside it. Some Saturdays, I would take my car to that service station and stay there until it was serviced. There were two boys, perhaps 15 years of age, who worked there. They were identical twins. Who were there? Identical twins. Jomoj bhai. One was called Ram and the other Gopal. They were very poor and did not go to school. Yet they could speak many languages. Though Bangalore, is the capital of Karnataka, Kannada is not only the language spoken here. There are many people who have come from outside the state and settled in this beautiful city. Hence, Bangalore has become very cosmopolitan. Cosmopolitan মানে হচ্ছে composed of people from many different regions and or cultures. ঠিক আছে? মানে কর্ণাটকা ইজ এ স্টেট, তার মধ্যে একটা টাউন সিটি হচ্ছে বেঙ্গালুরু, অ্যান্ড ইট হ্যাজ বিকাম আ কসমোপলিটান, যেখানে ডিফারেন্ট রিজিয়ন্স থেকে কেউ এসছে বেঙ্গল থেকে, কেউ এসছে মহারাষ্ট্র থেকে, কেউ এসছে গুজরাট থেকে, কেউ এসছে ওড়িশা থেকে, কেউ এসছে আরও বিভিন্ন পার্ট থেকে ফর ওয়ার্কিং পারপাস। বিগ টাউন সিটি একদম, সেই জন্য ওখানে বিভিন্ন রিজিয়ন্সের লোক থাকে অ্যান্ড বিভিন্ন কালচারের লোক থাকে। এবার যে পাঞ্জাবি থাকে তার পাঞ্জাবের কালচার থাকবে, যে বেঙ্গল তার বেঙ্গলি তার বেঙ্গলি কালচার থাকবে, বাট এভরিওয়ান ইউজ টু লিভ ইন দ্যাট পার্টিকুলার প্লেস ইরেসপেক্টিভ অফ কাস্ট উইথ রিলিজন। সেই জন্য জায়গাটা কি হয়ে গেছে? কসমোপলিটন হয়ে গেছে।
Cosmopolitan.
These boys had met many people during their work at the station and so could speak Kannada, which was their mother tongue, and also Tamil, Telugu and Hindi. Tamil Nadu, Telangana, those are the পাশাপাশি সব states, এদিক ওদিক। So Tamil, Telugu and Hindi. Ram and Gopal worked as errand boys. Errand boys stands for the boys. They're like মানে persons whose jobs involves carrying messages, buying something, delivering goods, etc. মানে জিনিসপত্র দেওয়া নেওয়া, এটা ওটা করা, এগুলো হচ্ছে ঘুরে ঘুরে যারা কাজ করে, বুঝলি তো? They were always very cheerful and everyone liked them. The servicing of my car used to take about 2 hours. The boys would bring a chair for me and I would sit under the shade of a tree and read some books. তো যেদিন যেদিন সার্ভিস করাতো সেদিন সেদিনকে 2 ঘন্টা টাইম লাগতো, and the boys would bring the author a book, chair. She would sit there and read some books. All right. Over a period of time, I became friendly with them and they told me about their life. They did not have a father. Their mother worked as a laborer. They stayed in a nearby slum with their uncle. They had studied up to class 4 but then had to drop out as they were too poor to continue. They started learning, but they were too poor to continue the study, and they had no father. They used to live with their uncle. There was nobody whom could guide and teach them at home. Though the salary of the service station was not much, They got free breakfast and lunch and sometimes small tips from the car owners. They had no fixed working hours. They came around 8 in the morning and went home only by 8 p.m. Sunday was the only holiday they got. তাহলে দেখো, as they used to work as errand boys, as they had no such, you know, good work to do, their income was also very less. And being a child or being children, what they would have done, they would study, they would learn, they would go to school, but just because of their poverty, their economical condition and social situation, they were unable to go there. They were about 15 years old. 15 years old বলতে এই তোমার যারা এখন 9 10 এ পড়ে সেরকম ছেলে মেয়ের মতো. So they were not so young, they are not so, adult, that they would work for their family and work hard. Actually it is the time for playing and study. সে জায়গায় যদি কাজ করে, বুঝতেই পারছো কিরকম একটা কন্ডিশনের মধ্যে দিয়ে যাবে, কষ্টের মধ্যে দিয়ে যাবে. তো যেটুকু যা কাজ করে, টিপস ফিপস যা পায় আর খাবারটা পায়, তার জন্যই ওরা কাজটা করে, যাতে ব্রেকফাস্টটা হয়ে যায়. আর শুধুমাত্র সানডেতে একটু ছুটি পায়. In spite of all the difficulties they faced, these kids were always smiling. They never said no or grumbled about any work they were told to do. I have seen children in many well-off families with grumpy faces and no happiness. মানে অনেক বড় লোক বাড়ির ছেলে বা ভালো বাড়ির ছেলে আছে, গ্রাম্পি মানে ব্যাড টেম্পার, আনবে তার সঙ্গে দুঃখ, মনে রাগ, কথা বলে না, হ্যাঁ ওরম না. ওদের খেতে না পায়, ওদের দুটো পয়সা কম থাকে, কিন্তু ওরা সবসময়তেই মজা করছে, হাসি খুশি কথা বলছে. বুঝতে পেরেছো তো? If you ask them to do any work, they give you hundreds of reasons to avoid it. কাজ করতে বলে হাজারটা অজুহাত দেবে. I suppose happiness does not depend on the amount of money in the bank. I used to really like these two boys for their enthusiasm. এটা কাদের কথা বলছে? এই যে যারা যারা আর কি একটু ভালো বাড়ির বা নর্মাল বাচ্চা, যারা একটু মানে বেশি নিজেদেরকে একটু ঘ্যাম ট্যাম থাকে, বলে না সেই কি বলে, একটু বেশি সেলফ সেন্ট্রিক বয়েসগুলো বা ফ্যামিলি ব্যাকগ্রাউন্ডের জন্য অনেক সময় এগুলো হয়. তাদেরকে যদি তুমি কিছু বলো, বাবু এটা একটু করো তো, আমি এখন যাবো না, আমার একটু ঘুম আসে, আমার একটু ঘুম পাচ্ছে, আমি ঘুমাবো বাবু. আমি বলে অনেকে দেবো, হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ আমি পারবো, হ্যাঁ তোরম তো করা উচিত না, সবসময় হাসি খুশি সবার সাথে মিলেমিশে থাকা উচিত. I suppose happiness doesn't depend on the amount of money in the bank. I used to really like these two boys for their enthusiasm. Once in a while, I took snacks and some old shirts for them. They took the clothes with great joy as if they were made of silk, but I never saw them wear those clothes. কোনোদিন দেখিনি যে ওরা জামাগুলো পরছে. When I asked, they said, Madam, we always wear dirty clothes to work because at stations they became greasy. মানে নোংরা হয়ে যায়, কালি ফালি লেগে যায়, covered with a lot of oil. হ্যাঁ, তাই ওরা ওই জামা কাপড়গুলো ওরা ভালো জামা কাপড় মনে করে, তাই ওরা পরে না, পরে পড়বে বা অন্য সময় পড়বে. আর যেহেতু ন্যারেটার খুবই ভালো মানুষ, ওদের জন্য জামা কাপড় নিয়ে আসে, একটু স্ন্যাক্স নিয়ে আসে. হ্যাঁ, তো এখানেই বলতে চাইছিল তার আগের সেন্টেন্সে উই হ্যাভ কাম টু নো দ্যাট দ্য হ্যাপিনেস ডাজন্ট ব্রিং উইথ দ্য মানি ইন দ্য ব্যাংক. হ্যাপিনেস কামস ফ্রম দ্য হার্ট. It is something like you cannot earn. It is priceless. Happiness is priceless. একটা বাচ্চা ছেলে, একটা গরিবের থেকে গরিব মানুষ হয়তো সবাইকে নিয়ে থেকে খুশি থাকতে পারে, কিন্তু একটা বড় লোকের থেকে বড় লোক মানুষ ব্যাংকে কোটি কোটি টাকা থাকা সত্ত্বেও কিন্তু খুশি নাও থাকতে পারে, তাই না? Once I took some storybooks from them, thinking they could read them at night. After all, while other children of their age were studying in school and attending hockey and chess tournaments, these boys were slogging to make both ends meet. But when I got Once I took some storybooks for them, thinking they could read them at night. After all, while other children of their age were studying in school and attending hockey and chess tournaments, these boys were slogging to make both ends meet. But when I gave them the storybooks, their faces became pale, and for the first time ever, I saw a trace of unhappiness on their faces. They said, Madam, it takes a lot of time for us to read as we are not used to reading. Will you tell us the story? How can I tell you the story here when you are working all the time? We get some free time at about 4 o'clock. If you come, then to have your car serviced, we can sit with you and listen to the story. তো কি বলছে? একদিন কি হলো? আগের পেজে কি পেলাম আমরা? Once I took some storybooks for them, thinking they could read them at night. After all, while other children of their age were studying in school and attending hockey and chess tournaments, মানে গেম টেম খেলছে, সেখানে ওরা তো কাজ করছে, তাই বই নিয়ে গেল। বাট ওয়েন আই গেভ দেম দ্য স্টোরি বুকস দেয়ার ফেস বিকেম পেল ফর দ্য ফার্স্ট টাইম এবার, মানে ওদের মুখটা কেমন একটু ফ্যাকাসে হয়ে গেল। কেন? তারা পড়তে জানে না, পড়বে কি করে? A lot of time for us to read as we are not used to reading. Will you tell us the story? How can I tell you the story here when you are working all the time? আচ্ছা, আমাদেরকে বলবে গল্পটা কিসের গল্প? কি করে বলবো? তোমরা তো সারাদিন এখানে কাজই করো। We get some free time at about 4 o'clock. If you come then to have your car serviced, we can sit with you and listen to the story. বলো, তুমি যদি 4টের দিকে আসো সার্ভিস করাতে কার, তাহলে আমি তোমার সাথে বসে আমরা গল্প শুনতে পারবো, বিকজ অ্যাট দ্য টাইম উই গেট সাম ফ্রি টাইম। Their two pairs of eyes were begging me for the stories and I could not say no. I remembered how my own children always insisted I tell them stories at night. I agreed. মানে বাচ্চা দুটো ওকে ইনসিস্ট করলো যে আমরা তো পড়তে পারি না, কিন্তু আপনি যদি পড়ে শোনান তাহলে আমার খুব ভালো হয়। আপনি 4টের দিকে আসুন, তখন গাড়িটা সার্ভিস করাতে আসুন, আমি তখন করবো, আমরা শুনবো আপনার কাছে বসে বসে। তো না করতে পারলো না। I remembered how my own children always insisted that I tell them stories at night. I agreed. So it became a routine for me to tell them stories on Saturday evenings. I went there even if my car did not need to be serviced. তাও যেতাম, দরকার না থাকলেও যেতাম। They were very attentive when I told my stories and waited eagerly for more. This went on for many months. Then I decided to get a driver and stopped driving the car myself. My driver took the car for servicing after that, and I did not meet Ram and Gopal for a long time. অনেকদিন তারপরে আর দেখা হয়নি। Time flows like water, as we all know. Time and tide wait for none. No. মানে এটা কি? টাইড মানে এখানে টাইড স্ট্যান্ডস ফর ফ্লোয়িং ওয়াটার, ফ্লোটিং বা ফ্লোয়িং ওয়াটার, রিভার ফ্লো করে না, তো নদীর জল আর সময় কখনো কারোর জন্য থেমে থাকে না। এই তোমাকে আমি কথা বলছি, গল্প করছি, পড়াচ্ছি, এখন কটা বেজে গেছে? 9:10 বেজে গেছে, 9:10। If I think যে we can stop the time for a while, we will study and we will again restart the time. Will it possible? Will it be possible? It's not possible. So the same thing, এটাই বলতে চাইছি যে it is relatively new. Sorry. Time flows like water. One day, after almost a decade, my driver complained about a problem with the car. I told him to get it repaired. My old car had outlived its life but was still working. When my driver came back from the garage, he said, after working on the car, the mechanic asked about you. Do you know the owner of Good Luck Garage? গাড়ির যে মেকানিক, প্রায় একটা ডেকেড স্ট্যান্ডস ফর প্রায় 10 years। এই গ্যারেজের যে মালিক, সে জিজ্ঞাসা করেছে, আপনি চেনেন? আই হ্যাভ নট হার্ড দ্য নেম। ইজ ইট এ নিউ গ্যারেজ? ইটস রিলেটিভলি নিউ। রিলেটিভলি মানে কিছুদিন আগে করেছে। আই অলওয়েজ প্রেফার টু গো টু গ্যারেজেস ওন্ড বাই youngsters. This young man is very sincere. It seems he has known you for a long time. He asked if you were still teaching in the college. I could not think of anyone I knew who could be owning the garage now. Since my driver did not even know his name, I was unable to place him and assumed it was some old student of mine. ভাবছি কোনো তাহলে আমার পুরনো স্টুডেন্ট হবে। এই ম্যাডাম কত স্টুডেন্ট কে না চেনে, হ্যাঁ, তারপর কেউ হবে বোধহয়। Though since I teach computer science, I could not figure out how this person had shifted to automobile engineering. She was a computer science teacher, professor. Now, how a student from computer science department would turn into automobile engineer? Later, when my driver told me a second time that the owner of the garage had asked about me, I felt I should go and meet this man who took such keen interest in my welfare. The next day, I went to Good Luck Garage. It was a fairly modern garage and well equipped. মানে সব চারিদিক দিয়ে একদম সুন্দর করে সাজানো গোছানো একটা শহর, মানে ইয়ে garage. There was a glass cabin where I assumed the owner was sitting. As soon as একটা গ্লাসের অফিস রুম করা একদম বড় হয়ে গেছে, সেই errand boys like those two youngsters of 15 years had turned out to be a garage owner and had an office. বড় লোক হয়ে গেছে এক কথা বলতে পারো, বড় ব্যবসা, নিজেরই গ্যারেজ। There was a glass cabin where I assumed the owner was sitting. As soon as I entered, a handsome young man in blue overalls greeted me. He was holding a spanner and a screwdriver in his hand. মানে সমস্ত অটোমোবাইল সমস্ত ওই টুলসগুলো হয়। Madam, please come and sit in the cabin. I will wash my hands and join you in a minute. হাত ধুয়ে আসছি, বসুন বসুন। I sat on the sofa in his office. It was a nice functional office. দারুণ একদম টু practical and useful without any decoration. The young man looked wowly বলতে এখানে slightly familiar to me. এরকম করে ধর মনীষাকে আমি চিনি, 10 বছর পর দেখছি, কেমন আছিস এরকম করে না মানুষ, চেনা লোককে হঠাৎ করে দেখলে, কেমন আছিস, ভালো তো, বলে না? তো চেনা লোকের কাছে যেন সেরকম সেরকম করে তাকাচ্ছে, বুঝলি তো? বলি, I knew I had met him somewhere but couldn't place him. 10-12 বছর আগেকার ব্যাপার, কি করে জানবে, অত মনে থাকে? I wondered if I had taught this boy in pre-university. At the time, boys are 16 or 17 years old, adolescents with a lot of energy. When I meet them after they have grown up, I often fail to recognize. মানে দেখো, আজকে যদি মনীষাকে তোমাদেরকে যদি আমি এখন 15 বছর 10 বছর পর দেখে চিনতে পারবো না, কারণ সব চিনি, ফ্রেশ মিলে সব চিনি হয়ে যাবে। সবার হয় না, 70-80% লোকের হয়ে যাবে, চিনতে পারা মুশকিল হয়ে যায়। তুমি নিজের ছবি দেখবে, এখন ছবি তুলে রাখবে, 12 বছর পর দেখবে, দেখবে পুরো চেঞ্জ হয়ে গেছে, হাসবে, হাসি পাবে। হ্যাঁ, তুমি মিলিয়ে নিও। আমি আজকে বলে দিলাম, তুমি 12-10 বছর পর আমার কথা মনে রেখো, যদি মনে রাখতে চাও। দেখো হাসি পাবে, এটা আমি ছিলাম, হি করে হাসবি দেখবি। মিম বানিয়ে নিবি। এইবার দেখো কি হয়েছে। They look so different and mature. The young man returned with a mug of coffee and a glass of water. Madam, you have changed a lot. You look old and tired. আপনার তো বয়স হয়ে গেছে, অনেক চেঞ্জ হয়ে গেছেন। I'm sorry, but I can't recollect your name. You should excuse me and tell me your name. As you said, I am growing old. He smiled at me. There was a dimple. হেসে উঠল। ডিম্পল মানে জানিস তো, কালে টোল পড়া, in his cheek. And then I knew who he was. He was one of the two kids who used to work in the garage a decade back. Was he Ram or Gopal? Even in those days I used to get confused. I asked him, are you Ram or Gopal? I am Ram, madam. Please sit down. I am very happy to see you in the position you now hold. বা বসো বসো, তোমাকে দেখে তো খুব ভালো লাগছে, অনেক বড় জায়গায় পৌঁছেছো। Now I could understand why Ram had inquired about me after recognizing the car. গাড়ি দেখে চিনতে পেরেছে। Madam, I am very grateful to you for your help in those days. আপনি সাহায্য করেছিলেন, শিখিয়েছিলেন বলেই কিন্তু আপনার কাছে grateful. So you must be grateful to someone who has helped you when you were in need. You don't forget. You should not forget. The man, the young boy, Ram or Gopal, whatever you can say, were being helped by this lady. She used not to come only for servicing her car. She used to come just to teach them some lesson, to give them some ideas, so that they can be very careful about their future. And thus you can say that, or they can, as they already have said in this story, you have helped us a lot on those days. This help and this humanity by the narrator helped those two boys to grow up into a good human being and have a better lifestyle, তাই না? They were grateful to that lady or the not narrator, যাই বলো। What help did I give? বলছে তোমাকে কি সাহায্য করেছিলাম, তাই বলছে। I used to give you some old shirts and eatables and told you some stories. Madam, you don't know how your stories changed my life. Do you remember the stories you told us? I didn't. From the ocean of stories in my head, I had told them a few. No, I don't remember. না মনে নাই তো বাবা, কি গল্প করেছিলাম। He sat down opposite me, closed his eyes and started telling his own story. Madam, our life was very difficult. You were aware of it. The only thing we looked forward to was your visit. Looked forward to was your visit every Saturday when we could listen to your stories. We used to stay with our uncle, and whatever we earned, he could take. The stories you told us were our only escape from the drudgery. Drudgery stands for, দেখো,
drudgery,
drudgery. Drudgery stands for mere hard or boring work. Drudgery. Of our lives, মানে বোরিং থিংস যেটা চলছিল সেখান থেকে আমরা একটুখানি এসকেপ পেতাম আপনার জন্য, আপনার শরীর জন্য. Our working hours were long. I felt I should go to school and continue my studies, but the night schools were all quite far from where we stayed. With no financial help or support from home, it seemed studying would always remain a dream till we heard one of your stories. I made a big difference to our lives. Now I was keen to know what happened next. জানতে চাই কি হয়েছে. Tell me which stories that was. The roles had got reversed. I was the listener and he the storyteller. এবার কি হলো, রোল চেঞ্জ হয়ে গেল. Narrator has become the listener and he had become the storyteller, because ওর লাইফের গল্প বলছে কি করে কি হলো না হলো. এবার বলছে once there were many poor people in a village. এই গল্পটাই বলছে এবার, যেটা আমরা ভিডিওতে দেখলাম. They all wanted to cross, যেটা আমরা ভিডিওতে দেখেছি সেই গল্পটা এবার বলছে. They all wanted to cross a desert to go to a town where life was better and the future more promising. Many boys wanted to go. The elders in the village had told them, if you want to do something in life, you must go to that town. Pick up stones from the desert and carry them to that town. Some buyer or other will pay you for those rare stones. One morning, two boys started on their journey. They carried food and water with them. In the beginning, the sand was still cool and the sun not yet hot. They did not feel tired and strode on. After some time, the sun rose over their heads and the sand started to get hot. After walking for a long time, they thought they had reached the edge of the desert. So they ate up all their food and drank up the water. But soon they realized they had walked only half the way. গল্পটা আমরা বুঝতেই পারছি. We have already seen the story on animation and audiovisual presentation. They began collecting stones to sell in the town. After a while, their bags were full of stones and very heavy. One boy felt it was too heavy to carry, so he threw away the stones and decided to go back. The other boy said, let's do what our elders told us to do. Come what may, let's cross this desert and go to the town. The first boy did not listen and went back. The second boy continued to walk towards the town. It was a difficult journey, collecting stones and traveling all alone with no water to drink. At times he felt his friends was right. There was no guarantee that somebody would buy his stones. But faith and hope kept him going. After walking for a long time, he reached the town. Much to his disappointment, he saw that it was like any other town. There was a dharmasala. আমরা অলরেডি এটা পড়েছি. Hope you can understand this part. বুঝতে পারছো? Nearby. It was getting dark and he was tired, so he decided to spend the night there. ভাবলো শোবো, ঘুমাবো, রাত্রিটা ওখানে কাটাবো. এইবার next morning when he got up, he wanted to throw away the heavy stones he had collected and return to his village. একটা ওগুলো ফেলে দিয়ে ভিলেজে ফিরে যেতে চেয়েছিল. এবার কি হলো, he opened his bag. What he saw surprised him. All the stones had become big diamonds. In a moment he had become a millionaire. তাহলে এতদূর পর্যন্ত আমরা দেখেছিলাম। নেক্সট এই গল্পটা হয়ে গেল। Do you remember, madam, you also explained the meaning of the story? A student's life is like the desert. Examinations are like the hot sun. Difficulties are like the hot sand. And study is like hunger and thirst. As a student, you have to travel all alone collecting knowledge and skills, the way the boy in the story collected stones. The more you collect, the better your life will be. কি বললো? The more you collect, the better your life will be. After hearing the story, I decided to study in spite of all the odds. With a lot of determination and overcoming many difficulties, I managed to finish school. সব কিছু কমপ্লিট করেও, সব কিছু অসুবিধার মধ্যে দিয়ে গিয়েও ও কী করেছিল? স্কুলের স্টাডিটা কমপ্লিট করেছিল। So being a student, whatever you are learning is collecting knowledge, gathering experiences. So till you grew up, you will collect a lot and lots of knowledge, right? And thus this will make a huge difference in your life. Those who can continue, those who can continue, they can be successful. Those who can't, those who will step back, lean forward, lean backward, what will happen? Nothing but loss, right? After hearing the story, I decided to study in spite of all the odds. I keep on low. With a lot of determination and overcoming many difficulties, I managed to finish school. The service station owner was also helpful. When I got good marks in, he helped me pay my fees for an automobile diploma. I continued to work while I studied. Later, I took a bank loan and set up this garage. By the grace of God, I have been successful. I have repaid my loan and I am a free person now. তার মানে কি? লোন নিয়ে গ্যারেজ বানিয়ে সে লোন শোধও করে দিয়েছে, মানে এখন ও ফ্রিতে যা করবে তাই তার ওর ইনকাম, ভালোই পয়সা হয়েছে। ম্যাডাম, rich people are usually scared to start a new venture. They feel if the venture fails, they will lose their money. I never had anything to lose. তার কি আছে? I had learned this from my own experience too. Where is Gopal now? এবার ওর ভাইয়ের কথা জিজ্ঞাসা করলো আরেকজন। He was inspired by another story of yours. Ram looked sad. What happened? In another story you told us there was a jackal in the desert. One morning he walked out and faced the sun. He noticed that his shadow was larger than him. It was so huge that he decided he would hunt a camel for his afternoon meal. He spent the whole day searching for a camel and didn't pay attention to the smaller animals he could have caught. মানে ও বড় জিনিস একবারে ডাইরেক্ট বড় খুঁজতে গেছিল, ছোট ছোট না করে। It was evening and he hadn't found a camel by then. His shadow was even smaller than him. So he started hunting for a mouse. সকালবেলাতে ছিল তখন কিন্তু দেখেনি, এবার খুঁজতে শুরু করেছিল মাউস, আর রাত্রিবেলায় পায়। গোপাল was like the jackal. He always tried to do things beyond his capacity. ক্ষমতার বাইরে গিয়ে ভাবতো বিশাল বড় হব, and failed miserably. He doesn't even want to work with me. Now he is a peon in an office. তো কি কাজ করছে? পিয়নের কাজ করছে। পিয়ন বলতে ওই সমস্ত জিনিসপত্র দেওয়া নেওয়া, পিয়নগিরি করে বেড়ানো। ওই এরান বয়স ছিল তাকে এখন পিয়ন হয়েছে। যদিও তখনকার দিনে হয়তো বেশি দিন আগেকার যদি স্টোরি না হয়, কম্পিউটার সায়েন্স তো যদিও বা খুব পুরোনো না, নতুন নিউ সাবজেক্ট, নিউ তো পিয়নের কাজও ধরে নাও সরকারি যদি হয় তাহলে ভালো, আর যদি বেসরকারি হয় তাহলে 5-7 হাজার টাকার কাজ, হ্যাঁ, এরকম একটা ব্যাপার। I was dumbstruck, মানে এখানে unable to speak because of surprise, to hear how the small stories I had told them brought about such dramatic changes. I had never imagined while telling them that such a thing was possible. So it is actually possible. When being a teacher, we teach students, we teach different stories, and we tell them and we explain them with the meaning. Many of us can find the way out of it, can find the way how to become a successful person in life, তাই না? I had never imagined while telling them that such a thing was possible. I am not even the original writer of these stories. I could only silently salute the person who first thought of these stories. Did he or she know the effect they could have on two children after many years? তারাও কি অরিজিনাল অথররাও কি জানতে পারতো যে এই গল্পগুলো, তাদের এই গল্পগুলো এই দুটো ছেলের জীবনে কীভাবে এফেক্ট করেছিল, কীভাবে লাইফ চেঞ্জ করে দিয়েছিল? এই হচ্ছে ব্যাপার। কমপ্লিটেড। সুধা মূর্তির লেখা। So we are done with this chapter. Those who are absent can read out the story from YouTube, from my channel. সবাই দেখতে পারো, and you can understand. It is explained fully. Thank you.